In the studio tonight, we finally got in Dell's new XPS 13 2-in-1 device with Intel's new 12th generation CPUs. Now it looks like Dell has based the design of this on the Microsoft Surface Pro line, which is a great thing for us because we love the Surface Pros. And one of my personal laptops is a Surface Pro 8, which I absolutely adore. I use this for note-taking, writing all my scripts, and it comes everywhere with me. So hopefully Dell's XPS is going to be as good as the Surface Pro range, but with 12th generation CPUs. Now in this video, we're going to unbox it. We're going to take a look around at all the features on this device. We're going to take a quick look at the performance and the cameras, but this is only an overview. Please make sure you subscribe if you wish to see the full review, which will be coming in the next week or so. And also we will do a full comparison with my Surface Pro 8 to see how it compares against Microsoft's Surface line. Okay, so enough of the waffle, let's get on with the unboxing. Now this came in 2 boxes, so I'm going to assume that this is the actual cover, and this is going to be the XPS, so let's make a start. So packaging wise, this is very much like the other XPS series where we've got a box within a box, and by the looks of it, yeah, we've got the nice, I think it's made out of card XPS box. They're very environmentally conscious with the packaging these days, and that is a good thing. We've got a power cable in here, just the UK power cords. Nothing else in that part of the box. I'm going to throw that out of the way. And let's take a quick look. What's in here? Right. So that's quite nice. So here's the device itself, and it's in a little like cloth cover. Very good. Better than being wrapped in plastic like a lot of devices. And we've got just safety information, nothing exciting there. Put that to the side. We've got a USB Type-C, a USB Type-C charger. And that is a 45 watt, it's tiny, very compact. But obviously we've got the power cable that's going to go on there as well. We've got a couple of other little accessories. We have got a USB-C to headset jack, so which means there's not going to be one on the device, which is a bit of a shame. And we've also got a USB-C to USB-A for your legacy devices. Okay, let's take a quick look at the actual device itself. Oh wow, must have hit the power button. So here we go, XPS. So it very much looks quite a lot like a Surface, except it's a lot more angular. Now the Surfaces over the last few years, they have been making them more curved, which does make it easier to hold as a tablet. This has got a more industrial design look to it. Now I do really like that, but I don't think it's going to be as comfortable to hold in tablet mode. So it's quite a big feeling device. Probably very similar to the Surface. Let's have a quick look size comparison. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same size as the Surface Pro 8s. So if you're used to the size of a Surface Pro 8, you'll be used to the size of this. Just like very small bezels by the looks of this. And on the left side, we've got 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports and a speaker grill. On the right side, just a speaker grill. Now on the top, we've got the volume controls. This is for the NFC, for the wireless capabilities. And then we've got a power button which got a built-in fingerprint reader. And then on the bottom, we've got the pogo pins. And that's it. So port-wise, really not a lot. This is very minimal. Now the Thunderbolt 4 ports, fortunately, are very versatile. So one dock and you're off and running with one cable. So that's not a bad thing. Now obviously it's a USB-C power cable. So one of those will be occupied by your power cable. But you could get a dock with USB-C power delivery pass-through and charge it through a dock as well, so that isn't really going to be a problem. Now obviously we'll boot up in a minute, we'll test them, but we've got a 1080p webcam on the front, and we've got a 4K webcam protruding slightly at the back. I'm not sure if you can see that. It is a bit of an aluminium sort of lip, so it does stick out away, but I'm assuming that's because they put a decent camera in here. Fingers crossed, we'll try that in a little while. But now let's just take a quick look at the actual keyboard cover. So again, that's nice. It comes in fabric cover, just like the actual device did. This little sticker holding it together. So there we go. There's no colour choices or anything by the looks of it. It is just, this is what you get. There was no choice when I ordered it. This came with it. And because there's no kickstand on the device, you're probably going to need this. There's no other way of holding it up. So you're either using it in tablet or you use it in this keyboard stand. So inside, I've got some documentation. Yeah, I'm really interested. I can see the pogo pins are here. So we can see that we've got the keyboard cover with touchpad, and we've also got a back cover with it looks like a cutout for the camera. Now that's quite interesting because on the Surface Pro, there's no back cover at all. So this will give you a bit of rear protection. So let's pop it in. Magnets are very strong. That's really stiff. Let's try the back. So that's quite floppy. Let's have a look. So it's got magnets on the back, but very light. And very light magnets on the front. So you can see we can fold it up like a book. So now let's try and use it. Let's see. So, oh, I see. Right. So we've got magnets on the back as well. So we can adjust this, I hope. Yep. We can adjust the angle because the magnets work right across the whole back of the device. So you can have it from probably about 100 degrees. Seems to go back to what I would consider about 120 degrees. So you're not going to tip this right the way back and use it as a drawing device like you would a Surface Pro. So if you're planning on using this just for drawing, this may not be the device for you. But just playing around with it actually, it looks like you probably could have it this way if you're drawing as well. This feels pretty sturdy. So you could certainly use it this way with the keyboard flopped over behind it. So I don't think it's quite as versatile as a Surface Pro 7 or 8, but I do like the fact that you've got the rear protection. If you're using the camera, you're going to have to obviously open this as well. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of this keyboard cover? I think it's quite nice, but I think I do prefer the Surface on my initial inspection. Okay, so I'm going to basically boot this up and just set up Windows 11. I'm not going to bore you with that, so we'll be back in a second, fully operational. Okay, so we're now back, we're set up, so we're going to give this a try. So, put my keyboard cover on, open in the actual keyboard deck, instantly turns the actual laptop on out of the sleep mode, just like a Surface Pro. And we use Windows Hello facial recognition. There we go, and I'm in. Incredibly quick. Put a couple of tools on it so far to make a start. So first thing first, we've got a 13-inch 3x2 display that is 3K and 500 nits of brightness. Been very impressed so far with my initial impression setting it up. It's very pixel dense and it looks great, and it is bright as well. It also has Gorilla Glass, so hopefully it's not going to scratch easily. Moving down to the keyboard. So far typing feels great, but I do wish you could pop it up like you can with the Surface, and unfortunately it does lay flat. So you're typing flat on the desk, which isn't the most comfortable. Totally usable, and the keyboard itself is good and it has a good layout, but I do wish it popped up a little bit. And the trackpad is equally good. No problems tracking around the screen with this, and the gestures all work well. No problems, but obviously you've got the touch screen if you prefer. Now we've got the speakers either side of the screen. They sound like this. Speaker test at 80% volume. Yeah, so they're pretty good speakers. Definitely not the best I've heard, but you know, they're certainly, you could watch a movie on these. And then up above, we've got the 1080p webcam, and it looks like this. And this is a test of the 1080p webcam and the microphones on the new Dell XPS 2-in-1 laptop. Now at the rear, which we mentioned, we've got this 4K camera. We're going to show you some test shots now of that 4K camera, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of 4K video footage. Now, before we look at the benchmarks that we've tested so far, I want to look at the specs and the price. Now, this is a very expensive device. In the UK, this cost me £1,250. Now, yes, you do also get the actual type cover with that, but £1,250 for the base model is very pricey. And for that, you're going to get the Intel 12th generation i5-1230U CPU, 8GB of high-speed, low-power DDR RAM at 4,267 MHz, but there's only 8GB, and that is soldered. And this also comes with a 256GB SSD, and it is a Gen 3, it's not that fast, and unfortunately because you cannot access the actual SSDs on this device, you're stuck with what you order. So if you really want one of these, spec it out exactly as you need it. So how well does this laptop perform then? Now, it's passive, there's no fan, so therefore no fan noise, and that is a good thing. But obviously these 12th generations do run hot. But the 1230U i5 that they've put in this laptop boosts up to 30 watts, which isn't bad, but it only has 2 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores, meaning it's not going to be the most performant laptop you can buy out there. So we ran Geekbench 5 multiple times to see how long it can actually put out 30 watts on this machine. So straight away, the first run on a clean boot, when we haven't saturated that heatsink, this 1230U scores 1,469 on the single core and 6,757 on the multi-core, which that's not a bad score at all for a 12th generation low-powered CPU. The single core is particularly snappy, but obviously the multi-core is much slower than many of the newer 12th generation CPUs. And it will run through the Geekbench 5 CPU benchmark 3 times with full performance, and in fact the single core score actually even increases as it's slightly boosting along. But on the 4th run, it starts throttling back the multi-core, and you can see straight away we've dropped but from 6,500 to 5,500. And then when we look again, the next run, we're down to just under 5,000. Then we're down to 4,000. And then we start to then obviously creep back up again to 4,600. So you can see that this is going to throttle. You don't want to be buying this device, which is passively cooled, to be running any long-term load on this machine. Fine for short-term bursts, anything up to a few minutes, but you wouldn't want to be editing and like rendering out 3D images or videos on this device. Now when it comes to the graphics on this actual CPU, this is still disappointing that we're getting Iris graphics still, which is a few years old now. And also, it doesn't even perform that well. On a run of OpenCL of Geekbench 5, we're scoring 10,000 points. That's about 50% slower than the Iris chip on the Surface Pro 8 that we reviewed last year. Really quite disappointing. Now obviously we've only just had this, so we haven't had a chance to test the battery life yet. That will be coming in the full review. But my initial thoughts of this device, it is a very well built, sturdy tablet. It's probably not the most comfortable with its very angular designs, but it does look great. I love the fact that we've got the Thunderbolt 4 ports, and this keyboard that comes with it is very well designed, but I must admit I do prefer a kickstand that we get on the Surface Pro range. Now I dislike the fact that you cannot upgrade anything on these tablet devices, just like an iPad. I suppose it's quite par for the course for a tablet, but at least with Surface Pros you can change the SSDs. So that's my initial thoughts on this actual 2-in-1 XPS. I'd love to know what you think. Pop them down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what your opinions are. Do you think this is crazy overpriced like I do, or do you think that there is merit to this design? And as I said before, I'm going to have a few days full-on hands-on with this machine. Then the full review will be out hopefully in just under a week. And lastly, thanks for watching.